Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night from where when you're watching this video. It's John from IT Skills Academy. In today's video, I'll be showing you how you can create this cool admin dashboard using TailwindCss and ReactJs. The prerequisite: I will require you to have a basic understanding of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Well, to get us started, we are going to first of all install the frameworks that we are going to require. And first of all, we'll install the ReactJs. So I'm going to navigate to a new tab here, and I'm going to get to the TailwindCss official website. Now, while here, we're going to go to the documentation. And this is going to open the official TailwindCss documentation. So because we want to install, we're going to go to the installation section here, and more specifically the framework guides. So all these are the frameworks that are supported by TailwindCss, and for this specific project we'll use the Vite. So I'm just going to click on the Vite. So here you can be able to install TailwindCss with Vite. So we'll be using the React. So for us to be able to get started with these 6 steps that we have here, we need to get to the desktop. And what I can do is I can right click here on the desktop and open the desktop in the terminal. So now I have the desktop open in the terminal, and now here what I can do is I can get back here, and you can see the first step that we need to take is to create our project. So start by creating a new Vite project if you don't have one set up already. The most common approach is use create Vite, and that's all that we're going to do. So I'm just going to grab this. And this at latest just ensures that you are installing the latest version. And even before you get to this point, you also need to ensure that you have Node.js installed in your computer. So let me just take a second and show you that. So you need to download and install the latest version of Node.js, so that way you're comfortable and you're sure that everything that you're going to install is going to work for you. So pick one of these depending on the version of OS that you're using, the type of OS that you're using. Alright, so if that is already installed, well and good. And in our terminal here, we're going to come and paste that. So npm create Vite at latest. Hit enter. So it is now going to request you to give the project a name, and for this specific one, we're going to call it Food Dutch. Hit enter. If it asks you for the package name, you can just repeat the name that is written here. So that is Food Dutch. And after that, you're going to come and choose the framework. In our case, we are using a React. So use the navigation arrows to move to React, and then when it's pointed, you hit enter. So here you're going to choose the variant of JavaScript that you want, and in our case, we're going to go with JavaScript. So now after that, you can cd the Food Dutch, and you can now install the ReactJS. But what I usually like doing, instead of following all this whole process, is I can just type cd, or just navigate to my project folder, hit enter. that will now ensure that I am inside my project folder. And now what I can do is open a Visual Studio, and I'm going to open Visual Studio with this specific project folder. So what I can do is I can just type code and then the period. So code and then the period. So this is now going to open this project with Visual Studio. So hit enter and let's see what happens. And basically what that will do is it will open the specific project folder with Visual Studio. So let me just maximize this, and I'm just going to close that welcome window. And now from here I can be able to open the terminal within Visual Studio Code. So what I can do is I can click on these three dots. For me, for your case, you might just see the terminal somewhere on top here. For me, I have to click on the three dots, then terminal, then new terminal. And to avoid that long process, you can use Ctrl plus Shift plus this specific symbol here. So just click on that, and that should open the terminal down here. So you can see that I'm in the specific project name, so I'm saved now. So now the next thing that I can do now is to install the ReactJS. So that is this specific step here. So so just come and type npm install, hit enter. Now we have successfully installed ReactJS. This is all the information that we require. We'll be coming back to this specifically the SRC folder, which is what we'll be using a lot. For now, we want to install the other framework that we require for this project, and that is the TailwindCss. So to be able to do that, I'm going to get back to the browser here, and I'll install TailwindCss. So install TailwindCss and its peer dependencies, then generate your tailwind.config.js and post.config.js files. So to be able to do that, I'm just going to grab this specific line, which basically means that I'm installing TailwindCss. So get back to the text editor here, and I'm just going to paste that line there and hit enter. And basically what that will do is it will install Tailwind globally. That's what this D means. So this is going to take some time, so let's just give it its time to finish. Well, Tailwind is installed successfully, so the next thing that we need to do is to install the tailwind.config.js. So to be able to do that, I'm just going to grab this specific line here, which is going to install this specific file. We'll be using this specific file, so it's very important to have it. And as you can see, we've created Tailwind CSS config file, that is the tailwind.config.js, which is this specific file here. So now the next thing that we'll need to do is to configure our template paths. So this is where we are going to add the paths to all of our template files in our tailwind.config.js file. So to be able to do that, I'm just going to grab everything that we have here, although the only thing that we need is this highlighted part. So just copy this here, get back to the text editor, and here open the tailwind.config.js and get rid of everything that we have here and paste what we have copied. Alright, so now we have already configured our template paths, and now the next step is to add the Tailwind directives to our CSS. So all we need to do is to grab these 3 lines, the @tailwind base, the @tailwind components, and the @tailwind utilities, and then get back to the text editor, and here we are going to open the SLC folder and open the index.css. Here I'm going to get rid of everything that we have here and paste these 3 lines, and just like that we now have Tailwind CSS ready for us to use its classes. So I can close that, and I can also close this one. And now the next step is to start your build process. This is where you learn your build process with npm learn div. So I'm just going to grab that, get to the text editor, and here I'm just going to paste that specific line. So this is going to basically learn the project live in the browser, and that has been done successfully, and we've been provided with a link. We're going to open it in this specific port, so I'm going to hold Control and click on that specific link, and that is learning over here, although I find it a bit strange because I was expecting this to be at the middle here. Nevertheless, let's just test it and see if it is working well. So what we can do is we can get back here and the last step is to start using Tailwind in our project. So to be able to do that, we're just going to come and grab these lines, copy, and now I can close this, and I now need to open the app.js, and here what I'm going to do is just delete everything that we have here and paste that line of code. So this is going to also help me to test the Tailwind framework to see if these classes are going to work. And that's working very fine. As you can see, we have the hello world underlined and in that specific color. Let's try to change the color and see if that works. So we can just give it a text, red 400. And that is working fine, as you can see over there. So now that that's working fine, we can just delete everything, and what we're going to do is we're going to write RAFCE. That's a shortcut that will help you to have all of this. So now the next step that we're going to take is to create the components that are going to make up this specific dashboard. To do that, we're going to go to the SLC folder, and here we're going to create the folder components. Inside this component folder, we're going to have 3 components. That is the main component, the sidebar components, and the navbar component. So for each and every one of those components, we're going to have a folder for them. So I'm going to start with the sidebar folder. And inside the sidebar, we're going to create the specific file. So that is the sidebar.jsx. So we're done with that. So now we can create the other file, our folder rather, and that is the main folder. And inside the main folder, we are going to create the main.jsx. And lastly, we are going to create the navbar, and we're also going to have the navbar.jsx. So for each and every one of these files that we've created, we're going to go to each and every one of them, and starting with the main, here we're going to come and type RAFC, and that is going to help us to have this specific structure. So we'll go to the sidebar and do the same, and the navbar, and we're going to do the same. And now that we have all of those, we can now cross that. If that's not working for you, of course you now need to hard type this. Okay, so now let's go to the navbar, because that's the one that we'll be starting with. And here we can just type something, like we can talk about. Now after that, we're going to go to the sidebar, because that is the one that we'll be starting with. So inside here I can just type sidebar, and now what we'll be doing is we'll be importing this specific code in the app.js. So to be able to do that, we're going to get to the app.jsx, and here we are going to import the sidebar, and we're just going to go with the suggestion that appears here. So I'm just going to hit tab, and that's going to autocomplete that. So it says that we are importing the sidebar from the components inside the subfolder sidebar, and we're having the sidebar here. And here we can maybe just now require this file. So I can say sidebar, like that. And now here that we have the name sidebar, and we have imported that here, and we have it here. If we go to the browser, we're able to see that name sidebar there. That means now we have been able to import that successfully. So let's just hide that, and now we can work on the sidebar. But before we work on the sidebar, we need to set the custom colors that we'll be using for this specific project. That will be the color green. So to be able to have the custom colors, we're going to go to the tailwind.config.js. And inside here, we're going to just replace this extend with colors. And so these are the colors that we want, the custom colors that we want. So transparent, and then there is the current. This will be the current color, and we're also going to have white, and then after that, just to make our work easier, I have the colors that we will need for this. So this is the color green, is the one that we'll be using. In fact, just to make our work easier, I can just call this green, just to help us understand it even better. So these are the different shades of the color green that we need. So I'm going to grab this, copy it, and I'm going to have it pasted here, like that. So now we can test to see if that is working fine. So I can get to the sidebar here, and we can try to color this. So I'm going to talk about class name is equals to, and we are going maybe to say BG green 500. So get to the browser, and you can see the color green is there, working very fine. And if we change this shade maybe to 50, should see it's not that clear, but we have that color green with that specific shade. So that's working fine, so we can just get rid of that for now. So now the next thing that we need to do is to get back to the app.jsx. So this is like the main file where now we are going to have all the components that we need. So we need to be able to have a structure of how these components that we'll be importing will be structured. So for us to be able to do that, we need to be able to create some structures here. So what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to get rid of this, and here I'm going to create a container, and it is within this container that we are now going to have the components navbar and the main. But on top here we are going now to have the sidebar. So the sidebar will be within the main container. So like that. So inside here we are going to have the sidebar, the navbar and the main. We have not imported that yet, so let's just leave that for now. But we can style this main container here. So I can give it a class name, and here I require everything within this main container to flex. So like they should appear in a row direction. For this we can also maybe style it at this point, and one of the things that I needed to do is I need this to flex in a column. So I'm going to talk about flex column. I'm going to give it a height of 100%. That's the size of the screen. Anything else should overflow, or it should be hidden, and so we just need to scroll. So I'm going to talk about his screen, and for everything to overflow I'm going to talk about overflow auto. The height being his screen, I also need to determine the width, and the width for this main section will be 85%. So I'm going to type W, and because I want to have a custom width, I'm going to have the square brackets, and here I can type any value that I want. I want this to be in percentage, so I'm going to type 85%. And then finally we are going to have the BG, which should be green 50. We're not going to see that yet because we don't have anything in that container. So now that is done, we can get back to the sidebar. Alright, so now let's style this specific container. So we are going to start with the width. We're going to give it a width of 10. We want to give it a custom width, so I'm just going to have it in square brackets again, and on mobile it should take a width of 10%, but on this specific breakpoint I want the width to be 15. So I'm going to have that like so, and for the height is going to take 100%. So I'm going to talk about his screen, and for the BG it's going to take white. For the padding it will be 4, and I'm going to give it a custom color, so that will be 475569. So it's basically a gray color somehow. Well, that is style. We can now get rid of this, and we're going to replace it with nav items. So I'm going to create a container here. This will be the main container. Now inside here I'm going to have the container that is going to house the name of this specific dashboard. And so this one I can let me just call it food. Now below that I'm going to have another container, and it is within this container that we're going to have the nav items. So I'm going to give it a custom width, and I'm going to have the width to be 15. So I'm going to have the width to be 15. So I can just name them or label them as 1, 2, 3. Let's just have them like that. And now outside this container, we're also going to have one more container. And this one will be call to action. So now we need this to appear at the very top. We need this to be at the center, and we need this to be at the bottom. So for that, we need to style the main container here. So that is this one. So let's just hide it like that. And here we're going to have the following classes. So the first thing is these items, by default they are flexing in a column, but we're still going to have that flex call, and we're going to give it a height of full. So it will be taking the height from this. And then after that, because we want them to appear one at the top, the others at the middle, and one at the bottom, we are going to use the justify between. So let's check that and see. And now as you can see, we have this appearing at the top there, we have this appearing at the middle, and then we have this at the bottom. So therefore means that everything at this specific point is working fine. However, we have these at the center, but we don't want them to be at the center like that. We just want them to look as if they are the same or closer to this. So all we can do to make that happen, let me just first of all push this inwards like that. We can just come and grab all of these and have them wrapped within a container. Like that. So if we get back, we're now going to see that this now appears like they are both at the top, and we have this at the bottom. So all that we now need to do is to style them properly so that we have the required spacing. So I'm going to go to this one. Let me also push this inwards again. So we're now going to come to this, and in this case now we'll be styling the top part. So the first thing that we need to have here is to have them flexing in a column, and for us to have a space between the food and this, we're going to have a gap of 10. And we're also going to have the items at the center, and also justify center. And so now you see they now move at the center, and we have now the space between this and this. Now let's style the food. So for this, it will have a font of bold. The text is going to be extra large, so we're going to talk about text 2XL. For the color, we're going to give it green 500, and we just want it to be in capital letters, so we can say uppercase. Right, so that should be working fine there. Well, to clearly see this, we can just have this appearing like that. So this is like the logo of the specific dashboard. You can decide to have it like this, have it with an icon next to it, or just have the icon or the image which is going to represent the logo for the specific company. For this, just to make it simple, for this tutorial we're just going to make it simple like that. Well, now after that we now need to style these ones. So we're going to come to the container here, and we're going to give it a class name, and we just want them to flex in a column, and we're doing that because we need to have them with a gap. We cannot have a gap if we don't have the flex. So that's why we need to have that, even if it looks like some sort of repetition. So if we now check that, we should now see that we have the spacing there, and we have that logo appearing there. Maybe we can make this, oh sorry, here there's a typo, no wonder it is that small. So text to Excel, yeah, should be that big. So now the next thing that we now need to do is to style this call to action at the bottom here. So for us to better understand that, let's just break it like that. So here we give this the class of flex call, and the items moving at the center, and also justify center. We're going to give it a height, and it should take a height of 32, and we're also going to have it loaded LG. So now it's at the center for the loudness, and all that is going to appear once we give it some background color. So at least now our sidebar has taken some shape, and so now we can have the actual text. So to make our work easier, I'm just going to grab that and remove it, come to this one, and this is one that we're going to use as a template. So now inside here I'm going to create two containers. So that is 1 and 2, and notice that the two are now wrapped within this main container. So to be able to style the two together, I can come to the main container here and give it the following utility classes. One is that they should flex, that is, they should appear in a row, and between them there should be a gap of 2, and we want to have them justified at the center, items center. So for now, let's just have it like that. And now if we look at that, we're now going to see that they appear one next to each other. So here I'm going to replace this with home now, and here we are going to have the SVG icon. We'll be using the React icons, and for us to be able to use the React icons, we need to first of all install them, then let alone import them, and we're now going to have the icon down here. So how do we do that? Let's go to the browser here and head on to reacticons.github.io. So let's just see that so that you can be able to clearly understand that. So let me redo it one more time. So we are just going to search ReactJs icons, and so you go with the first option here. So this is the official website, and these are the popular icons that you're going to see here. And the first thing that you need to do is to install. This is for these standard modern projects, although you also have this. For us, we're going to go with this. All you need to do is to grab this line of code, copy it, and go to your text editor, and let me just try to have that one more time here. And here you're just going to copy the line of code that you have copied and hit enter. Okay, so now let's leave that landing there, and of course that is now going to have the SVG or the React icons installed. So now that the React icons are installed, you're just now going to choose the category that you want. You have all of these. So for us, we're going to go with a font awesome. So these are the icons that you need, and to get started, all you just need to do is to import. So you're just going to have this at the head, and then you're just going to have the name of the icon that you need. So for example, we want the home, so we search for home, and let's try to look for one. So for example, just a simple one like this one here. So just grab it. Here you're going to see the codes, so you can just import this. You can also have it with these several colors here. For us, we're going to go with the default one, so I'm just going to grab this, copy it, and I'm going to have it imported here. So now all I need to do is to have this at the bottom here. So we do that by having the square brackets. Oh, sorry. I just need to grab this and have it inside here, like so. So when you come back here, it is the same with this one. You can even copy that. So if we get to the browser here, I'm expecting to see that. So let me try to refresh. So let me open the terminal here and learn that again. So npm learn div. Yeah, sometimes this happens, and all you just need to do is to run the project again. Yeah, and we have that over here. We have the home and the icon, or it should be the other way around. So let's fix that. Okay, so that's what we expect there. So now all I can do now, because we need several of these, is just grab this and duplicate it several times. So I'm just going to have it like 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So after that, we can now rename. So just grab this and let me just rename it real quick. Yeah, and just like that, we have that renamed. And so now all we need to do again is to replace the icons. So we're going to start with the food order. So come to the React icons and here search for food, and we can grab this, although I had used this one, but we can always change. So we're just going to grab that and have it on top here. First of all, let's have all of them. I think that will be easier, and then we just have them down there. And so let's first of all just do this for your understanding. So let me just grab this, and I'm going to replace it with this. Okay, so now that you understand how you're doing that, we're just going to import them first here, and then we're going to change down here. So here the next one will be love, and we're going to go with this one. So just grab this, get the text editor here, have it there. The next one will be a message, so message, and just grab it there, grab that there, get the text editor and have it down there. The next one that we're going to have is the order, so we have order, so we should look for all other. Let's try to find history. Yeah, let's try history. We can work with this one, so we grab that, have it there, and we also now going to have the notification. So notification, just grab this one, have it there. Alright, so now we can now replace them. So from the food order we have this favorite, then after that we have the message, and then we're having the history, and then the last one but not the least, we're having the notification. So we have that here, and that's it. So if we check from the browser now here, should see something cool like this. Right, so looks like some of the items are disorganized a little bit, so let's try and see how we can fix that. So to be in a position to be able to fix that, we're just going to go to the main container here that is wrapping all of them, and what we can do is we can just come and give it the following class. So items start, so that means they're all going to go to the left side. So if I come back here, I should now see that they are all in a straight line, and that is very well fixed. So now we can move on to the other part. Well, the next thing that we can add is a hovering effect. So we can talk about hover, and we're going to give it a border left of 2, and we're going to give this border a color. So we'll talk of border green 500. For the spacing between the border and the text, we're going to give it 2 pixels, right and left. So now if we come back here, and when we hover over the text, we are now able to see that we can also change the cursor so that it is pointer. So we have something like that, and we can just grab this and have it in all the other items. So what I can do is to just come and grab this, hold Alt and select all of them, and space, and copy the classes. So now on hover we are going to see that hovering effect there. Sorry, we have duplicated an extra class here which is giving us issues. Just get rid of it. So that part now is working fine, and so now we can head on to the call to action. So the first thing that we are going to do here is to create a container. This is the container that's going to house the contents. Is going to be in direct contact with the content of this call to action. So inside here I'm going to have the container that's going to house an image. So I'm going to talk about div, and inside here I'm going to have an image. So image source is equals to I'm going to have some curly brackets here, and at this specific point now we require some images, and I'm just going to grab some images from the finished project here. So let me just head on to that, and I'm just going to grab the images that we need. And these are the images that we require. So all that I can do is to come and copy the whole folder. So I copy it, and we're now going to get to our project here. Sorry, it should be this one, source assets. Here we can get rid of the React SVG, and we can just copy our own images there. So now that we have the images, before we have the image here, we need to import that image from on top here. So what we are going to do is we are just going to say, we just have it down here, import, and we need to select the name of the specific image. So the name of the image is category 1. So we're importing category 1 from, so we need to navigate to that specific folder like so, and that is in the assets, in the images, sorry, in the images, and here we need to have the name of the image again with extension. This is very important, with the extension, because here we didn't have an extension, but here we are having the extension, that is the PNG. So therefore means that now we can have this specific image that it is imported. Now we can have it inside here. So now let's test and see. Yeah, and now we have the image there, so looking fine. So now the next thing that we need to do is to have some text below that. So below that container, we are going to have another container which is now going to have some text. So again, the text will be wrapped within a container, and the text is share your own recipe. Below that specific div, we are going to have another div, and inside this specific container we are going to have 2 more containers. And here we're just going to have some text and some text, an SVG and an icon. So here we're just going to have some text, so that is approved now, and here we're going to have an SVG icon for approved. So let's get that first. So that is approved. We're just going to grab this one here, import it first. So we come on top here, the icons section, and we can grab this one, and at the bottom here now, inside here, you can have it. Like that. So now we can try to style that so that it has that appealing look. So we're going to start with the main one on top here, and we're going to have that flex in a column, a gap of 1, items should be at the center, and we should also have it loaded. Rounded MD, and we can also give it a background color, so BG 100. So now we can try to style the image here a little bit. Just give it a width of 2/8, and let's check that. So we have it there. Now we need this image to appear on top of the green background. So to be able to do that, we're going to grab this image and give it a negative margin top, so to raise it up. So here we'll say a negative margin top of 14, and that pushes it at the very top there. Alright, so now after that we can now style this. So how we are going to style that, we're going to give it a class name. So this one should flex in a column, should have a gap of 1. For the margin top it's going to be 3, and the text will be small. This one on mobile, we are going to have it hidden, so we're going to give it a class of hidden, but on large screens we want to show it, so we're going to give it a class of flex on this breakpoint. So for this we're just going to leave it as it is, because we just want this to be in a column, so we don't need to add that for now. But now here, for this upload button, we want to have it hidden on mobile, but on this medium breakpoint we should show it. So we say flex, and then we have the items at the center, px of 2 and a py of 2. For the bg, we are going to give it a green 600, while the text should be white. For the size of the text, I'm going to have it with extra small, rounded MD. For the icon, we should have it visible on mobile, but we should have it hidden on this breakpoint. For the size, it should take 4 extra large, and we're going to give it a color of green 500. So if we check that, we should have something like that. Or we forgot to add some height, so let's try to fix that. Yeah, we're having the height. I don't know why that's. Yeah, we should give it height of full here, so it can take this height from the main parent div. Yeah, so it should look like that. And you can also notice that it's detaching the edges, so we need to fix that so we can get back here. That is affecting the text and the button. Okay, so the px and the py here did not work. We can come on top here. This is a container that is lapping all of them, including the share your receipt or your recipe, sorry. So here we can add a px of 5. Yeah, and that fixes the issue. We now see they are somehow at the center, and we also need to have some space because I think they are too close to each other or something. So we can have a space between the image and the content at the bottom, so that should be somewhere here. Let's try to increase this gap maybe to 3. Yeah, and that's better. Well, that is working fine, but this is on a large screen. Let's try to have it on mobile and try to fix that, because now you see we're having some issues here. So we need to be able to fix this. So to be able to do that, we're going to start with the specific icons, and we are going to hide the text on mobile and show it on a large screen. So we're going to start with maybe the first one here. So we give it a class. So here we want this text to be hidden on mobile, so we're going to say hidden, but we want to show it on a medium screen or rather maybe large screen. So we can say at that specific breakpoint we should have this flex. So we can try to see if that's working. Yeah, so you see when we push it at that specific point, we now have the text home being hidden and we only have the icon. But now we need to fix this, because now this one should be appearing at the center. So what we can do is, at this specific point here, let me try to change this back to center, and that's going to push it at the center. But once we push it at that specific level, we are now having the icon and the text. When we push it to that specific point, we only have the icon. So therefore we can grab this line and have it in all the other areas here. So something like that. So now when we check that, we should only see them appear like that. And now you notice that here, because we had added the breakpoint, we are now seeing the SVG icon, because now we are on mobile. Alright, so the other thing that we need to do is to hide the image on mobile. So we'll scroll to the image, this here, and here we're going to say that this should be hidden. But on mobile it should be visible, so MD flex. So now the image is hidden and we can only see this specific icon. And we also going to hide the background color. So we are going to go to this color here, I hope it's this one, and we are going to say that this should only be visible on large. So now that disappears. We also need to fix the text, so we can maybe use an icon. So for example, now here we can come and remove that, and we can create a container, have the name, and we can add some classes. So this one should be hidden on mobile, but on MD it should be visible like that. And we are going to have below here the SVG or the icon. So let me just test it first. SVG, and this one should only be visible on mobile. So I'm going to say flex, while on MD it should be hidden. So I think it should be something like that. So let's see. So here we are seeing the SVG, but when we take it to that, it changes like that. Unfortunately, we have this going back to this order, so therefore means that we need to fix a few things here. So let's see how we can fix that. So what we can say is on large screens, so MD, let's use the MD breakpoint, and here we can say items start. See if that is going to solve that issue. Yeah, they are now back to that nice order, and when we push it to that point, yeah, so yeah, so at least that is a bit responsive over there. And so now that marks the end of that specific component there. And so now we can go to the main section, and we're going to start with the nav. And now that we are done with the sidebar here, we can continue to the main section here. We're going to have a nav bar on top here, then the rest are down here. So let's get to Visual Studio Code, and here first we're going to open the navbar file. So here we have the navbar. So now before we proceed creating this navbar, let's first of all have it imported here in the app. So to do that, just go on top here and say import, and we want to import the navbar, and this one should be from, and we're going to have this from the components. It's the navbar, like that. So now down here we can just come and have it this way. So sorry, so something like that. So now what that means is if we get back to the browser here, we should be able to see that navbar there. That means now we have imported it successfully. So let's get to the navbar here. Let me close this one, and the first thing that we're going to do is to style this main container over here. So the first thing that we'll do is to have a class name, and the width should be full, margin top of 5, and we're going to have it with a px of 4. So now inside here we're going to have several containers, and and before we have anything inside them, let us style them first. So anything within this container should flex within a width of full at mobile, and we should have the items justified between. The items should always should be aligned at the center for that specific container. And now this will be the contents again for that container, which again will be within another container. So here we are going to have the text home, and we can style this home. So what we say is a class name, and then we're going to have a custom color, which will be gray, so that is 475569, and the font should be semi-bold, so font semi-bold. So now below the home we're going to have the search input field. So I'm going to talk about div. For this one I'm not going to have it within the classes. I create a shout div. So here we are going to style this as follows. The items should flex, moving at the center on both the y and x axis, and the px should be 3, and it should also be loaded full, and the text is going to take this gray color. So now inside here we are going to have a search icon, and now below it we're going to have the input field. So input should have a type of text, and we are also going to talk about placeholder being search. Let's style this. So we are going to have it with a BG of transparent, so we are going to see the background of the main container now in this case. So for the padding we are going to give it 2. It should take a width of 28, but on MD the width should be auto. We want to hide the outline once we click on this search field, so we're going to talk about focus, outlined should be none. Alright, so that should be it. And so now we can proceed on to the last part of this nav. So below this, down here, we are going to have another container. Now for this container, it's the one that is going to lap at least 2 icons and the profile image. So we're going to have let me have 2 of this, so just duplicate it, and I'm going to hold Alt and select both of them because the classes for both of them are the same. So we are going to have them hidden on the mobile but show them on large screens. Here for the main one, we are going to have them flex in a row, having a space of 2 and being or appearing at the center. So now let's have the contents here. So inside here we are going to create yet another container. So now this container we are going to style it because we want the icon to be styled. So for that we need some classes here. This one should just flex, having the items at the center, justify center, and for the text again it will be gray. For the BG we are going to have it being white. We want them to be full circles, so we talk about loud and full. For that to happen we need to have a height, so we're going to give them a height and a width of 10. Now inside them we are going to have an SVG. So we are going to have a container, and that's where we are going to have the SVG. So now this will be similar with what we want to have here. So I'm just going to duplicate that. Now finally, below these 2, I'm going to have another container here. This is where we are going to have the profile image. So this one we don't want it to be hidden, so it will just appear. So we can just leave it like that. And this one we can style it. So this is now the container that's going to like house the profile image. So we are having it with a width of 10. So the image will also inherit this height and width. And yeah, I don't think there's any need of that because we are going to have that in the image. So let's have the image tag, the attribute SLC, curly brackets across that element, and we are going to style this. We're going to take the width and the height from the container. So all we can do is to have it with loud and full. The image itself will be of person 1, like the name of that image will be profile 1, I mean person 1. So we need to import it here. So we are importing person 1, and we are getting this from, let's have the path here. So go to assets and images, and here take person_1.jpg. So let's check what we have, and now we have something like that. So we need to have the SVG. First of all, before we have the SVG, we need to have the input also being rounded. So let's add here rounded full, so that should be fine. And now let's get the icons, starting with the search. So we grab the search, we import it first, so that should come on top here. We can now grab that, and here where we have the search, that should be here. We're going to have the angle brackets and have it there. And now you're also going to have the same here. So the first one here should be one for a male. So for the male, we're going to grab this one here. So that should be imported here. We grab this, and we are going to have it here. And lastly, we are going to have the notification. So notification, and we grab the notification there. So we have it imported here. We grab that, and below here we are going to have it there. And so when we get to the browser now, we should be in a position to see all that. Here we should see this one, the background is maybe not there. We maybe did not give it a background. So let's get to the input here. This container should have a background of white. So let's try to give it the BG. Yeah, it should be like that. So now here we can search NLN. So that's looking fine, but now we need to test it on a mobile. So we break it like that, and now you see how nice it appears there. So this one becomes small, and it's at the center, and then we have the profile here at the end. Okay, so now the navbar there is complete, so we can close that. And now the next thing that we want to do is to create the contents below that. So that should be within the main. So we'll go to the main, open it. Here, first of all, we need to have the main imported. So import main from, we are going to have that coming from the components, main, and here we want the main. So we just need to have that here. So that should be main. So if we get back here now, we should be in a position to see the main. So the main is imported successfully, so we can hide that and now concentrate on the main. So get rid of this, and here in the main, we're going to start by styling the main container. So what we're going to do, of course, is going to have the class name. So we come to the main container here, and all we are going to do here is to give it a px of 4. Now inside here we are going to create a container, and it's going to take the following class names. So everything should be in a column on mobile. The gap should be 3. On MD we should have the items appearing in a row, and for the margin top we're going to give it 5. Alright, so now below here we are going to have yet another container. So in this specific container we're going to have the items flex in a column, taking a width of full, and on medium the width will be 70. So we'll give it 70%. Now inside this container, this is where we are going to have the green banner now. So let's structure it here. So first of all we have the items again in a column. On MD they should flex a row, and we should also have a gap of 3. On MD the gap should increase to 5. Here we want them to be justified between, so they are going to be distributed within the available space. So if there are 2, it will be just one on the left and the other one on the right, and you're going to have the items at the center. We also need to have them with a BG color, so they're going to take the BG of green 200, and we need to give it a height which will be 52, and they are also going to have a padding of 2. The text, it's going to take this green color, so 0 to C22, so that should be the color there, and we also want them to be loaded LG. So now inside now here, this is where we are going to have the content, but again we are going to have it lapped within a container, which we are also going to style as well. So flex call, and the px of 3, a gap of 1. On MD the gap should get to 2, while on MD the width should get to 45%. So that's fine there. So now we can have the content. So here we're going to have the text, so we can say all the best disciple recipe in one place. Let's style this a little bit. So this one we're just going to have the text being small. On MD the size will increase to large, all to extra large, and the font will get to bold. So that's enough for that. We can have another one here. So div, this one again we are going to have some text, so we say upload your home homemade recipe here. For this one we just make it to be small, so text extra small, MD have the text being large. Right, so that should be fine. So now below that we're going to have a button. So again a container for that. So for this it is like a button, so let's style it. So a gap of 3, width of 2.8, and for the BG we are going to give it a green 500, and we should have the text being white. So let's have the content of that. So here we say order now, and below that we're going to have an SVG icon. So we will have the icon there. Okay, so let's just have it empty. So we need to fix something here, because this specific button, this specific button should be within this container. So sorry for that one should be there. Yes, so that now below that we have the image. So we are going to style this. So these items should be at the center. We are having this justified center, taking a width of full, but on MD the width should be 55. So we're going to have the image here. So we have the image element. So image, the attribute of source, square brackets, and close that. And here we're going to have the image, which the file name will be category 1. So we need to import that. So come on top here, and here we say import category 1, and this is from let's get to that path. Should be assets, images, and this should be the image.png. So now let's style the image down here. So the image is going to take a width of 2/3. The height will be 28. That's on mobile, but here we should have it with the height of 20. Let's have it with 58. And the height, we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Let's give it a custom one of 180 pixels. Let's see what we have so far. Yeah, so that's what we have over there. We need to fix this because this should be loaded. So the button here, we say loaded LG. And we're also going to have it with a padding of 2. And that's better. For the image, here we made a mistake. We should have the height of 180, and now the image is made to be that big. So let's say on mobile, the image is getting out a little bit, so we can reduce here the height. Yes, so the image, getting out at this specific point. So we can maybe try to, let me see if it is the padding that is causing the issue, the padding for this button. So MD, yeah, so maybe oh sorry, that one, sorry for that, because if we are seeing this getting out of hand, we should not be targeting this one, we should be targeting this height here. So because this is the one that is on mobile, this height. So let me see if we give it let's say 14 now makes it small. Okay. Yeah, so that should be that should be fine, but on MD we should not be seeing that margin top. So empty of yeah, so it should be something like that. So that looks good. So now we can proceed on having that fixed. So the next thing that we're going to do is to have the category. So we're going to have that somewhere below here. So let's first of all see where we should have that. So it should be here, so we can hide this. And below here we are going to have and we are going to style it, so it should take a margin top and bottom of 4. The text we're going to have it with a glare, and here we're going to have it being bold, and the text itself is categories. So there we have it. So now we can have the categories. We're going to have the categories in a grid. So I'm going to have a container here, and I'm going to have it with a grid. So the items will be displayed in a grid layout or format. On mobile, these will be one card on top of each other, but on a medium screen we are going to have these in columns, and here we're going to have a maximum of 3 columns. On LG we'll increase the columns to 5 columns. Okay, so now inside that we can have the grid items, if I may call them so, and let's just have something here just to test it. we duplicate this several times and we check and we see that appears in a grid, so that means it's good to go. And so now what we can do is to create one card and duplicate it. So let's style this card. So first of all, we're going to have it flex in a column with a gap of 2, and the items appears at the center, or the PY should be 3, and that's on a white background. It should take a width of full on mobile, but on a breakpoint of medium, we should have the width getting to 28, this one being loaded MD. So that's the container itself. Now below that, we are going to have another. So let me get rid of this. So this one is going to take a width of full, and the width or the padding right and left should be 2. Here we are going to have another container, and this one is going to have a BG of pink, but so that is A, B, F, C. So that light pink. We're also going to have it taking a height of 28. That's on mobile. Here we reduce the height to 14 on that breakpoint, and it should be loaded MD, or rather LG. Here we have another container. So this is where we are going to have an image. So for that, let's style this a little bit. Here we are centering these items, and this is also going to take a width of full and justify center. So this is the container that is going to wrap the image. So what I'm going to do is, inside this container I'm going to have an image. So I have the image element there, its attribute, and here we are going to have the image category 1. Okay, so now below that, now we are going to have some text. So that should come below this here. So a container, and here we style it first. So it is just going to take a font weight of semi-bold, and the text will be all. So that's fine there. So below that, we are also going to have an icon. So in this case, we're going to have this icon styled. So how we're going to do that is, of course, have a class name, have the items they are flex, change the text color to green 500, and the text is going to be extra large. So that will be the size of that SVG. Let's get the SVG. It should be an arrow. So we get to this and get an arrow. That one should be this one here. So So import it first on top here, and grab it, and that's what we are going to have inside here. So something like that, and when we get to the browser now, we should be in a position to see something like that, but we need to fix it because it should not be in a row, it should be in a column. So we need to get to the beginning of that card, and here we made a typo, and now it appears like that. We need to style the image, so reduce the size of the image, so width of 2.8 on mobile, on MD reduce that to 14. So on MD it's that small, it's going to increase when we get to a larger screen. So now we need to duplicate that card several times. So we grab it and we have it 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there you go. So maybe we can change the text so that it looks a bit real somehow. So we where's that? Here we can have flies. Here maybe we can have hot dog, and here we can have what, sandwich, and maybe we can also have fruit. Yeah, so something like that at least. So they're appearing there, and maybe we can change the color, so that should be for this grid. Let's try to have text of gray for 7, 5, 5, 6, 9. Yeah, that's better. And so now it's on large screens. On mobile we should have it like that, but we need to fix the gap. You see, we don't have the gap in between them for some reasons. Did we give it a gap of 3? Grid, no gap. So let's have a gap here of 3. So now we have the gap there. Nice. So you can have as many as you want over there. So now the next thing is we're going to have one more, so we'll have a grid below that. So we are going to come and hide this, so that now below it we have one more grid that is going to have even more the categories themselves, like when we say all, when we click on all, we are able to see, like for example, let me just show you. If we click on all, we need to see all. If we click on fruits, we need to see fruits. If we click on sandwich, so on and so forth. So we need that container. So in that case we are going to have another grid here. And on a small, we should have these columns getting to 2. On large, we should have these moving to 3. Don't forget the gap, and the padding should be 4, and we'll change here the text to this text 475569. That should be 8. So now let's create the canned. So this one is going to take what? A BG of white, while the padding should be 1. Let's have the edges loaded large, taking a width of full, but on MD reducing that width to 48. Okay, so now below that we're going to have another container. This one again is going to flex call, the gap being 3. For the BG, we are going to give it this specific color, F2F2, some sort of pink color, but you should have a padding of 3, and have it loaded LG. That we have the BG color, we can also have the text color, which should be this color. Right, so that's working fine there so far. Now inside that we're going to have some text. This text, sorry, let's have it here, 15%. Now let's style this text. So we are going to have it with a margin left of 4. So we're going to move away from the margin with a distance of 4, and we are also going to have this with a background color. The background color will be fake. So now below this we are going to have some more content. So in fact it will be an image, so we have that container over here. We start by styling it. So here we are having that with a gap of 2 and moving them at the center, and also justify center. Let's have the image wrapped here. So image, here we are having the source, and the specific image will be category 3. So we don't have that, and that's why we have these lines here. Do not find that name, so we need to have that imported. So let me start with product 1. So import product 1 from sorry, let's try to get it from the assets, images, and this is the one, should be JPEG. So that one should appear there. We need to also style it a little bit, so give it a width of 28, a height of 28, on mobile, but yeah, it should remain like that on all screens. So now below that we need to have some text, so that should be here. So how we're going to do that is, first of all, as usual, have those in a column direction, taking a width of full. Let's have them at the center. So we have now the items inside here. So here we are having the text block line. That one should be address. So we need to style that. So it should take a font weight of semi-bold. The text, we are going to give it a custom color, which is 022C22. We're also going to have it being large. That should be the text there, and below that we're also going to have some sort of description. So we can say like test our natural block line choice well find. So we can let's fix this, style this, and just have it with a text of small. Below that we are also going to have some more content in that card. So wait a minute, I need to say something. So I think we are still in the right direction. Let's preview that. It's going to give us the way. Yeah, so far so good. We only need to fix this part here, but this looks good to me. So we can just have the more content here. So here this is going to flex, taking a width of full. Here we're going to have them justified between. We need them at the center. Alright, so let's have them here. So that will be this one. We want to give it a font of bold. The text color, we are going to give it this custom color, which is 022C22. That's it. And below that we are going to have one more container. Here we are just going to have an SVG icon, but the background of it should be white. So we are just styling the container that is housing it, and we are saying that the text should be a green 600. So now inside here we are going to have the SVG icon, and the icon is basically a plus. So we can come here and grab the plus. So plus, you're here. So have that imported here. so that should be on top here. Then after that we grab it and we are going to have it here. So let's fix the 15% here. So we reduce the height to 14, give it a padding of 1. The text we can make it extra small, font of bold, and louded MD. There we have it. The color, here we have an issue with this. Oh, that's the BG. We also need the text. So text, this should be F8 7171. Let me also have it at the center. So flex items center. X. Yeah, just fine. Okay, so we have it there. The 15%, we did not add it. Wait a minute, we messed here. This should not be there, should be here. So we have let me have that fixed. So we should have this container and this, so that now here we have the content 15%, so that now when we come here, unterminated. So maybe there's something that we have not closed. How do we get that even? Could be one of the divs. This one is here, this one is there. Let me get rid of this first. So let's have 15% here. And below that we have that. Yeah, fine. So it should be like that. So this should be the container that is lapping the two of them. Then we have this and we have this. So this is the plus and this is the 15. Yeah, like that. And now that we have the card ready, we can duplicate it. So just grab it. So 1, 2, 3. And there you go. So we can add maybe 2 more. And so we have something like that. Let's say on a different breakpoint. Well, that breakpoint, and when we push it to small, we have it that way. So that's working fine, at least for me. And now the next thing that we need to do is to work on this right side here. So still at the main, so we are going to hide this last grid. So I'm looking for that grid. Where are you? You're here. So hide it. So within or outside this, we are going to have the other part there. So let me in fact have the container. So we create a container here, and just to test things out, let's give it a BG of white, and have some content. So we just need to test and see. Yeah, we have it in the right place. And so now means we can proceed on. So let's have some classes for it here. So we're having it flexing in a column, the items moving at the center. For the width, on a medium breakpoint, we're going to give it 30 because we have 70 on the other one, so 30%. While on mobile the width should be full, and we are also going to have it allowed MD, while the padding, margin top and bottom should be 4, but let's first of all see if we are going to require that. So now after that we are going to have yet another container. This one will flex in a column again, always on all breakpoints, and it should take a width of full. Here we are going to have another, this one is going to have a margin a bottom of 8, and the px will be 4. So the contents for that container over there. So now we start creating the contents. The first one will be that debit card. So we are going to create a container for it here, and sorry, so what we'll do is we'll first of all style it and give it a BG of green 200, and we're also going to give it a margin of 3. We want it to be in a certain angle, so if we say rotate 2, and we give it a height of 48, and the width is going to be full. On LG the width should change to 95%. That will be one of the part of that debit card. We're also going to have another one. It looks like we have 2. one on top of each other, and they're in a certain angle. So we are going to have this with a class name. We have this with still clean, but the shade will be a bit low or high, sorry, it should be 400. We wanted to rotate on the other angle, on the other side, so we'll talk about negative rotate. The other one rotate 2, but this one is going to rotate a step further, so it will be 3. The height will be 48. Rounded MD should take a width of full on mobile. Yeah, so let's just have it that way. And now inside that we are going to have another container. So as usual, we start by styling this. So this one is going to flex in a column. The PY should be 4, where the text moves to white or changes to white. The items are the ones that will move to the center, and we are going to have them justified between, so there will be some space in between them. And so now we can have the content down here. So first of all, we have another container for them. These ones, again, they flex, taking a width of full, full. Again, justify between, and we are going to have the items moving to the center and a px of 4. So now let's have the contents before we preview that on the browser. So that is equity bank, and let's style this text. It should just take a font of semi bold, so that's enough. And we are going to have an icon. So here we are going to have an SVG icon, which will be 7. So save, or maybe we can just say save. Oh no. Yeah, so we can grab this one, although not getting the one that I wanted. Maybe it was the bank. We need to search bank maybe, but still this one is still going to work, so we can have it there. Sorry, oops. Yeah, so let's check that now. And so now here we have this in that angle, rotating at 2, the one at the back. Then we have this one rotating at -3, and then we have the text justify between. So after that we can have some more content down there. So below this we have another container. We are not going to have any classes for that. However, we are going to have some classes for this, which will be the size of the text, so that it will be extra large on large screens. This one should take 2XL. On MD the font should be semi-bold, and we can have the contents here. It's just like a card number. Below that, we are going to have some more contents there. So this will be the card holder name and the date, expiry date. So we're going to give it class name, width of full, have it justified between items center with a px of 4. So now inside that we are also going to have another container. This is going to be empty or without no class, without classes. So we are going to style this one instead. So here the contents of this, the text should be small, and here we are going to have the card holder name. And below that we're going to have the name. So we also need the expiry date. So this is going to come down here. So here we are going to have the expiry date, that one being small, all extra small, and here we are going to have the date. So maybe we can just have a date there. And so we have something like that. So now after that we need some more content down there. So let's create a container. Let's ensure that we get out of this card let me test that. Yeah, so we should have it there. So here we have a container. So class name, this is flexing with a full, should be justified between items. Here moves at the center with a px of 3. So here inside here we are going to have some text. So we create a container. The text will be order now, and for this we need to make it semi-bold, and the color should change to this. So this should be the gray color, so that is 475569. And now below that we can have another container. This container is going to wrap a text and an icon. So for that we need to have them flexing with a gap of 2 and appearing at the center. So we'll have the 2 items, so the div, so this will be view all. So we are styling that to just change the text to green 400, and we are going to have an icon below that, so div, and let's just have it with some color. So these will be again, so let's just have it that way. And here we are going to have the SVG. So this one should be an arrow. Yeah, so let's look for arrow. This one should be pointing to the light. So we import the icon, and we have it here, so we can have the error fixed. And so if we check that now, we have something like that. So now the last thing, so it's some sort of a list of what they can order or what has been ordered maybe. So we are going to come below this. Let's remove this one. So that should be below here. So in that case, we are going to style it as follows. So it's going to flex, taking a width of full. We have it justified between items moving to center, px of 4 and my of 4. So now inside that we have another container, and this one is going to again flex and having a gap of 2. So now let's have the list inside here. So div, and here we're just going to have an image and some text. So we'll start with the image. So we are going to make these flex items moving to the center. We'll have it with a BG color. The BG color should be this color here. Let it be allowed MD. With a padding of 1. Alright, so now inside that we'll also have another div, and this one, let's have it with no class. We are just going to have the image, and this one, the image will be product 3. We don't have that yet, of course, but we'll be fixing that. Let's style the image here, give it a width of 8, a height of 8, and make it a circle. And that should be the image. And now down here we are going to have some text, so we create a container for them so we can be able to style them properly. So here we're just going to have the text being gray, so 475569 enough. And here we are going to let's have this being a semi-bold, and we have the name as Greenpeace, and we can just duplicate that to make our work easier. Change this to text SM, while this one becomes the money. And finally we are going to have outside this outside here we're going to have the last container here, which should be the amount, so we can say ×3. Style it should just take the text of 475569. We need to get the product 3, that's why we are not seeing anything. So let's import that here. I was thinking that I should get that being auto-completed, but it's not, and I'm worried that it might not work. Yeah. Import from, why should that be an issue? Yeah, we should be seeing that auto completion, or else we are having an issue. .jpg. And we have it there, only that this should be there. This x3 should move to the right. So let's see, x3 is on here. So we should have this being justified between. So this x3 is in the wrong place. It should not be there, rather it should be here, so that it takes this justify between, so it should be here, so that now while it is there, it's able to inherit this justify between, and that no, should be moving it to that end. Oh, sorry, typo here. Yeah, does it? Oh, and so now what we can just do is to duplicate that card. So where is that card? And now should be this one. Let me try and see if it is the one. Yeah, so we just have several of them. And when it comes to being responsive, you can see it's responsive, and we are able to scroll while this starts here. Oh, we forgot the SVG. That was on the sidebar here. SVG. Let's try to look for one here, like this one. We import it. And we can have it here, like like that. So on that breakpoint on that mobile, we see the icon, while on that we see the food. Okay, so that is the cool full dashboard. I hope you are able to learn something. So we've been able to create this using TailwindCss and ReactJs, which is not a framework as I had mentioned, but is a JavaScript library. So hoping that you're able to get that. I'm going to have a link to download this in the description of this video. You can fork it from the GitHub, so it will be available on my GitHub account. So go there, follow me on GitHub, subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel, so you can be able to run this and much more. So up until next time, thanks for watching up until this point, and see you then, and take care.